session like we like to do each time is with some sensory experiences or some mindfulness. And so we can have a man, Namaste Phil, come up here and set us off so we can go and get in the right frame of mind and everything. So make some noise for Namaste.
First, I want to start with Namaste. Thank you. Namaste means the God that meets the God is the God of you guys. So we started drinking each other on that level, we can definitely vibrate higher. And thug stands for true heart under God. A lot of times we forgot who we are. I don't knock praying, but that's a one-way cycle. When we meditate, the Most High is able to sit according to us. And the main thing is breathing. Like if you're not breathing, I'm not really dealing with you. So my main thing is actually all this conversation. How do we breathe? In our nose, out our mouth? You can raise your hand. In our nose, out our nose? No right or wrong. And what? In your nose, out your nose? How many people agree with that? Raise your hand. In your nose, out your nose. Who agree with that? Don't be shy, like raise your hand for real. If I get away $10 million, y'all have to raise your hand. Same thing with energy. This is an occurrence. So if we do that, we're taking back our power from our thoughts. Our thoughts are based on survival instincts from our primitive nature when dinosaurs was around. We have evolved, so we're always trying to protect us psychologically, being defensive, not allowing to do things to expand. So when we're able to meditate and breathe, we're able to shift out of that amygdala, dealing with fight, flight, or freeze, into our prefrontal cortex by breathing. And it's a lifestyle. Like breathing is a lifestyle, not just when I'm meditating. No, it's a lifestyle. If you see yourself being anxious and you got to address somebody in a low vibration area, stop it. I consciously breathe 3 times. In my belly button, sucking it back in. That's an internal massage. I'm giving my brain proper oxygen. I'm giving my lungs proper oxygen and my muscles. Now I'm taking back my power back. Okay, what happened again? I don't want to disrespect your energy or my energy. Because it's an even energy exchange. Make sense? This helps us stay present. We don't want to be in the past. We don't want to be in the future. We want to be right here, right now. If you're breathing consciously, you can't have the mental space to be somewhere else. You're going to be right here, right now. Make sense? So we're going to go through how to breathe, and we're going to have actually a set on having like a 2 or 3 minute meditation, because once we meditate on the same level, we raise our chi and we become one. When we're breathing on the same accord. All right? So when we breathe, we want to think about our spine being an information highway. If we're sitting over right here, that's 5 o'clock traffic. I can't get that clear. I want to sit up here, nice and tall. Now, I'm pushing away depression and low vibration by my posture. If I stand here, I look more assertive. We're not trying to be perfect. Scratch that. We want to be courageous to face and feel what's going on with us. Breathing gives us that courageousness and gratefulness to breathe, okay? So when we breathe, when we inhale, our belly button goes out. We think about Buddha with the big belly, digesting what life gives us. As we exhale, I don't think I stream in my spine, pulling it back. All right? So I'm squeezing here as I'm breathing, and I'm engaging my core. It helps my core engage. So as I inhale, and I count backwards because it's not natural. 3, 2, 1, 0. Or breathe, hold, then I inhale or exhale. Make sense? Your rhythm, your beat, just like music. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe, pause, and we exhale. Giving that prana, that's enough time to go in our body, take out all of that old chi that wants to be released, bring in new, fresh energy. Y'all have some too. No, I'm afraid not to have it. And our words are so powerful. The most powerful we have is our intrapersonal communication. How am I talking to myself inside my head? When we meditate, we realize like, whoa, like that can't be me. So when we meditate, it's pretty cool. When we meditate, and when we meditate, we don't want to block nothing out. We want to tune everything in. It's impossible because the ocean start making waves. Our brain is made of frequency and vibration. So whatever happens, incorporate. Don't block nothing out. That's resistance. Allow it to flow. Allow yourself to feel it, to release it. Okay? Y'all ready to sit up? And if you feel your mind going somewhere else, just gently smile and bring it back. That release that dopamine in your brain and serotonin will feel better. So it's always wonderful to smile and it's contagious. All right? So it's going to be a practice one. Any questions so far? Everybody understand what we're doing? Okay. Y'all ready? So we're going to inhale. Breathe hold, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And just give yourself the permission to be free. Just to be yourself, to manifest and be that abundance that you are. Breathe in joy. That's what we are internally. Exhale love. That's what we are in the Allow yourself to be that instrument for blissfulness to flow through you. For you to be exactly what you're supposed to be. Feeling your divine purpose. Every time you exhale, feel a different part of your body just relaxing and releasing. Feel that rhythm of your heartbeat. Being grateful. Free yourself from thinking. Allow the chair to hold that weight. Give yourself permission just to be. Deep breath. Deep breath. And it feels good to me. I have a slight smirk on my face and attitude of gratitude. Just to be free to meet and gather. Have people that look like me, that smell like me, that vibrate like me. And engage with me. You are enough. Everything you think you want and need is on the inside. Just breathe and be like the flow. Patient with it. No rush. Never try to get your attention. Just focus back on your breathing. Always coming to the breath. And 30 more seconds. Focus on that breath. Get that prana. Allow it to clear. Any old residue, any old trauma, any old releases that no longer serve a higher elevation. We are energy. Connect with it. And be with it. You have to do nothing. When you were born, you had just enough when you were born. Remember that. Feeling that. Take one more deep breath. Inhale. Slight hold. Exhale very slow, very mindful, very grateful for that breath. When you feel ready to rush, you can open your eyes, bring back what you saw, what you felt. Get back into your body. You shake your feet. Move it a little bit. Give you some time to get back in, but any questions, anything anybody want to share? It's open forum. You settle back in, think about everything you felt, the colors you saw, if you saw anything. Because sharing is caring, that's how we display, that's how we get rid of energy by conversation, by speaking about it. What you think, somebody might say for you to answer for you, so don't be afraid to ask a question. Are we all the same? my mental health is what got me into this. I had 13 professions in my lifetime. I'm labeled bipolar aggressive tendency. So my first thought is someone do something to me, how can I hurt you? What can I hit you at your body? So breathing gave me back my power of being so aggressive. Coming from my childhood, what I was mentally seeing. I was programmed as a child. Aggression was the way to communicate, and that's not wrong. That's not healthy. It's not right or wrong. Not healthy. We don't want to have a judgmental mentality of judging ourselves other people. We come from non-dualistic. We're all ahead. If I say I'm winning, that means you lose. That don't feel good. So I got responsible for my energy and your energy. So we are one. Like we just remember. I don't know nothing more than you guys know. My situation almost made me become who I am. It's not something I woke up and said, this is what I want to be. I was so tired of being uncomfortable. And how I knew a spirit was in me one day, I had my Glock 40 to my head. I already blew my brains out. And someone said, you ain't hungry? I'm like, you know what? I am hungry. I do want to sing. And from that day, I was on a mission to find what that voice was. So I turned to Reiki. I turned to carry my different stones and my crystals to realize we energy and we vibrate. So once I understood my vibration, what I was doing to myself with my concussion, I had to rewire my brain and realize my first action wasn't here. So once I got off my psych meds, I realized it's a 3-second window that we have a thought and a response. If I give a thought more than 3 seconds, and it's not positive, it takes me 10 hours to get out of that. If I give a thought more than 3 seconds, it's going to take me 10 hours to get out of that vibration. So I give myself like 1.2 seconds to think about that, and I pause and because if I engage in that, it wants to feel on a lower vibration. Our body is made up of electrons. That's negative energy. So we can't help but be negative because of our cell makeup. But that's our willpower that is connected to the Most High that helps us be at positive vibration. But we have to experience the uncomfortableness to move. So if you're not uncomfortable, I'm not even going to say pain, because once you release it, it's a blissness behind it. It's not happiness, because you can be happy right now and go outside with a tire flat and pissed off. You want to be joyful, like, dang, my tire flat. Like, okay, I got nowhere to be. I got people that have no problem to fix my tire. I'm not going to invest in a lower vibration energy. I just roll myself up higher. So I help people through my impact coaching and my energy investment understand what am I doing stopping myself from propelling forward. That makes sense? So I help you with stretching. I help you with breathing. I help you with breathing. I have tuning force that I help you with the chakras, myself and my goddess for the males and females. So we speak about that. So if you want, I can give you my card. We have a 30-minute consultation and kind of see how we can help each other. Because I didn't realize that I needed a coach. Sometimes we need a coach to help us. Hey man, listen, it's not your fault. That's the process. You're supposed to be blah, 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 blah. If I talk to somebody that has fear, they'll say, you're right, don't do that. It's stopping me from being the vessel for the Most High to manifest. You follow what I'm saying? So you don't have to do this by yourself. You let me set a phone call myself or her, and we can move through this together. Because that's what we call sheep. Sheep work better as a community. We're not ghosts. Ghosts work by themselves. When we together and talk about it, we feel better, don't we? If you work out by yourself, it's cool, but having somebody with you, it just feels a little bit better. That's what we do. So we're in the same frequency, not by yourself. You have a spiritual family, that's somebody I can talk to without the devil, without the label, without, you know what, I can relate to that. And once I relate and find a common bond, it'll make us different. Nothing. We breathe the same way, we think the same way. Just like I'm a male or female, we got the same energy, masculine and feminine. We just manifest, so, oh, you a woman, oh, you a man, you a woman, I'm a man. But once we sing out the two become balanced and whole, we walking forward as whole. We're not missing up on the inside, hoping something outside of us gives us that. So meditation and that breathing helps you lock in your foundation. Any questions? Any concerns? Okay, I'll make sure everybody get my call before we leave. We do, we can have one-on-one, okay? Namaste. I'll teach you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So we're gonna keep it moving. We have I mentioned coaches. So we have folks here that are coaches in a different sense, and we're gonna have a real conversation. So be prepared to be open and ask questions and connect. So right before we get into that, we're gonna have a brief performance. Let my man Zaire come on up and bless us really quick.
Okay. There.
What's good? What's great for today, brother?
What's great? I like that. What's great? What's great is I'm here.
That's what's up.
I'm not great at breathing. So I appreciate it.
I got you on the word. We can work on that.
Alright, so this first song, well, I'm gonna put one song while I say first. This song I'm about to do is entitled Refuse Me. So hope you enjoy it.
Choose
please. Begging, no. If you ain't gonna change me, you'll refuse me. Oh, yeah. Said if you ain't gonna choose me. Thank you.
All right, so that was Zaire. So if you don't know him, you need to get on him now because very soon you're gonna be like, you know, I should have known that dude when I had a chance. You know, maybe he can give you some, you know, I don't know what you're gonna give him, but something now for free that they won't be able to get when they ain't free. Or whatever. Or whatever, you know? So he's a super talented member of Arborville's project. Shout out to the other super talented members, including Marnino, Shay, Yami. All right. So we're gonna just have a good old conversation, and so what I'm gonna do, we have 3 people here that are our, I'm gonna say experts. We have our experts. So I'm gonna introduce the 3 of them. They'll tell you who they are, give a little bit about their background, and the ladies, if you could just give 2-3 minutes about your wellness, health wellness journey, how you got to where you are, and what's important and what matters to you. And then we're gonna kind of crack open the conversation. All right? So I'm gonna introduce all y'all at once, and so y'all can just decide who wants to talk first. I guess I don't know. Okay, cool. So we have Miss Laini Byfield. Make a note. We have Dominique Jeffries. And Miss Akita Carey. Whoever wants to start, go ahead.
What'd you say?
You want to go in the order he introduced us?
Yeah, I guess.
Should I use the mic?
Do y'all want the mic or y'all want to just keep it in this?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I started my health journey probably not even as a journey. I was young and in high school, and I was told that I would never be able to have children. And I was like, okay, that's fine, I'll adopt. Which is fine when you're like 15. And then you meet somebody and they want children. And what do you do about that? You go to some people that tell you different things, and you try those different things, and it doesn't work. And the reason I couldn't have children is I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. And polycystic ovarian syndrome comes with a whole lot of other things like extra hair. Although luckily my extra hair is so much less than everybody else's that it doesn't matter. You have a tendency to be overweight. You have you don't get periods, which means that you have a tendency to be infertile. And you have other various things that just kind of are related to that. You live with metabolic syndrome. And so over time I gained weight, didn't know why I was gaining weight, couldn't figure out what to do, and the doctors weren't helping me. And it's funny because I come from a medical family. My dad's a doctor, my sister's a doctor, my mom's a nurse, and nobody really knew what to do because there's no medicine for it. It's live with it. So I kind of had to do my own research, and I tackled it. I changed my diet. I changed my way of living. I wouldn't say it's a lifestyle in the sense of I did different things, but I do have to exercise a little bit more than the rest of the population in order to keep things the way I want. Non-traditional care like chiropractic helped. I have 4 children now. So that journey came with a lot of other things. So yeah, I picked up how to help people how to deal with the people in your life who you love, who mean well, who give you a lot of setbacks. For example, my mom. I live with my mom, and she was trying to help me through everything, and I gained like 40 pounds. It's just what it is. My coaching deals with, it seems like a traditional kind of bodybuilding coaching. It's strengths, it's endurance, it's flexibility, but it's based on your character. So it's character strengths. It's focusing on your character strengths. It's focusing on your character endurance and flexibility of your character in order to get the things that you need done. I'm a board certified health and wellness coach, which gave me the training to get there. And it helped me tackle other things like 3 car accidents in a row where I couldn't function the way I wanted to. And that was a big setback back to where I was and coming through it. So that's my story.
I've been looking for a way to incorporate more plants and to really lock in on my nutrition. And right before the pandemic, a friend of my sister actually introduced her and both of us to an organic superfood company, basically where it would be a convenient way for us to add in whole food, certified organic, like biodynamic foods, plant-based foods, and it really, really made it super convenient for us to add this in. I mean, the minute that I got it into my body, I noticed that my consciousness shifted, my digestion was better, I had more energy. It just started to really like connect with myself on a deeper level. And once I got this in my body, like I just felt like I had to share it with everyone. I had friends and family back home that would say, oh, you're plant-based, like what should I do? I would experiment with it, I would start. And this was something tangible where I could actually give them like, oh, here, add this juice into your lifestyle. It can feel overwhelming if you want to make a lifestyle change. You don't really know where to start. So added it into my lifestyle, started sharing it with friends, family, people who just like I have a friend back home that's my mom's friend, actually she's like in her 70s and just can't work out. She's been eating heavy meat and processed foods and dairy her entire life, but she wants to feel better. She wants the last, 3 years of her life to be healthy. So just added in a lot of the nutrition that we've added and been able to help her. And she's lost like over 40 pounds just from shifting her nutrition. And now she's like, oh, I don't really want to eat as much meat as often as I did before. Now I understand like what this means. So that's a little backstory about me, but now holistic health coach, so I really want to help people learn how to bridge that gap between you don't have to be 100% healthy or be 100% like unhealthy. You can really add certain things into your lifestyle where you can live a healthier lifestyle and just be your best self. So I think that in a nutshell kind of tells you a little bit about me and what I do. So thank you.
fitness elements. So I teach that in higher education. So it's really based on this idea of the hip line, the eroticus power, really trying to help women find agency and liberation in their pelvis. So people from the Caribbean, people from the diaspora know that this movement means very specific things culturally. But I think from a global perspective, there's a very colonized and very sexualized, very racialized understanding or misunderstanding and misinterpretation of what that movement is and what it does. And so as I taught the class, I had a lot of experiences in terms of what my students shared, either physically or verbally. So there's a lot of trauma in the body. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of oppression. There's a lot of repression. And so what I noticed, for some people, it was very liberating. And for some people, it was very traumatic. And so I was really interested in how this movement, in an academic setting, first of all, was able to provide a sense of agency when we talk about what the erotic means for individuals and really redefining it. Because from a Western perspective, we know that we're looking at sexualization and pornography, but redefining what that means. So really looking at it, of course, this is the scholarly information. So taking what Audre Lorde and some of these other scholars and what they have decided to define that as and really building on that. So for me, it's about empowerment. It's about liberation. So then the fitness element. So regardless of wherever I lived in the country, I was always in the gym, working out. And the dance technique is really built on this sense of athleticism as well. So I decided to think about how to bridge these two worlds, the dance and the fitness element, and this idea of Caribbean cultural performance and sensuality, and how to not even try to reshape the body, but reshape the mind, right? So allowing people to come into the space and really find freedom and expression, like they were in Carnival at Trinidad, or they were in the dance hall in Jamaica. So I'm trying to provide a sense of culture and family and experience and freedom. So yes, we're squatting, but we're squatting and we're whining, right? So it should be fun and sensual and free. So that's, in a nutshell, Carol Funk Fitness.
All right, cool. So let's just kind of open the conversation. I'd like to maybe start it off with just posing this as a jumping off point. We are, wherever you think about what stage of the pandemic we're in, but we've been in, this thing for a minute, and I know a lot of people have either experienced changes in their body because of the pandemic, and like in multiple ways. Some are getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and going to work out, for the first time in their lives. But then others are sitting home and have been eating and stress eating and different things. And so, for that being the moment that we're in, just thoughts about what do we do now? Like here we are. What do we do now? How do we reconnect with our bodies in a way that's healthy, but for our bodies and our minds in the midst of all that we got going on?
I think events like this are helpful because this is not the information you get if you go to the doctor or just like generally. These are not things that you hear. So I really appreciate these events because it gives you alternatives and you hear testimonies about what other people have done to kind of get you where you're trying to go. And sometimes when you know where you're trying to go and you hear something, you're kind of like, oh wait, I'm experiencing that, so maybe I need to, and that whole concept that you just explained with the dancing, I'm like, wait, hold on a second. This makes you think differently. So yeah, these events definitely are helpful.
Yeah, I think overall, I really try to get my students and my clients to really think about redefining what fitness means, because it can mean so many different things. And I think also with this whole idea of virtual, before you were very limited in what you were able to do. And now you can not only take a genre that you've never taken before, but you can also take it with someone who lives in another country. So the opportunities to be engrossed in so many different types of movement styles and take classes with so many different people has been amazing. And I also, want people to really think about their journey and using their experiences to travel on that journey. If you like to walk, walk. If you like to stretch, stretch. If you like to run, run. If you like to dance, dance. Every and anything can be a part of movement. And I think if we open up our understanding of what that means and give yourself the liberty to have those moments where I just ate 15 cookies and that's okay, or I just drank this bottle of wine, and you just start the journey over again. Don't beat yourself up. I think just allowing ourselves to have those moments, which we need, because I need a drink right now, and be more gracious. I think that's really be more gracious and sensitive to our needs, because sometimes you need that extra cake. But know that, and I tell my clients, but you know that tomorrow you're gonna have to fix that, right? Is it worth it? Is it worth the 30 and 40 minutes that I'm gonna torture you? So then we also have to make conscious decisions, right?
So, go ahead. Is it appropriate to ask a question right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I hear what you're saying, but for me, like, damn, that's not cool. As someone who has, on occasion eaten a cake or two, or drank a bottle of wine or 3. You know what? It's hard to be in that mindset of thinking about the repercussions. So what are some? All right. But yeah. So what are some ways to sort of like put yourself in that frame of mind? Because like I know when I'm sitting down eating those 15 cookies, I'm not thinking about tomorrow. Like this is that.
Well, I mean, the repercussions are how your body feels and how your body looks. Because after a while, the 4 cakes, you won't be able to fit into your clothes. You won't be able to move the way that you used to move. It takes more effort. You'll be out of breath. And so then it's like, then is it worth it? Because if you constantly have to squeeze into your clothes, or you're constantly like looking in the mirror and don't want to look at yourself, then some decisions need to be made. So you have to, I can't like tell you that. I want you to figure that out on your own. Because once it becomes a lifestyle, then sometimes you just don't desire it, or you are so disciplined and I really like the way that I'm feeling, I really like the way that I'm looking, and I don't really want to, create other opportunities where I have to kind of go back to that. And again, it's a journey. You fall off, you get back on, you fall off, you get back on. But I think that when it becomes a lifestyle, then you kind of discipline yourself, and then it's about how you feel and how you look.
Go ahead, Daisy.
One of the things that has helped my clients is it's kind of a mindset shift. People think that when you're on a diet, it's like, oh, this is my cheat meal, this is my cheat day. And instead I say, plan a vacation day. So instead of saying to yourself, okay, I want this cake right now, instead plan to say, on Saturday, I'm gonna mess up, I'm gonna enjoy messing up, and then on Sunday I'm gonna do it. And plan it ahead. Because, back when you were in school, you had Saturday coming. You worked through school, you worked through Saturday coming, you have fun, right? So while you are in this diet journey, plan times where you are going to have that all out and then come back to it. The beauty of that, there's research that says that the way we think of calories isn't really the same as what's actually going on. Yes, calories in, if you have too many calories, you gain weight, but not really. Because if you have too many calories all the time, then you gain weight. Your body says, oh, this is what you want. This is what you're supposed to do. But if you have a steady regimen of this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, and then you explode on one day, and then you go back the next day, then your body was like, oh, that was just a blip. Let me get rid of that real quick, and let me move on. So planning the vacation day is a technique that can actually help.
What I was going to say was, from a mental standpoint, what's the cause you eat 3 cakes and drink a whole bottle of wine? It's a behavior that comes probably from my cellular DNA level. So I'm going to be constantly understand what behavior am I doing and what am I running from. We have to sit down and retrain, reprogram my mental belief. It's a cause and it's a effect. So if some reason you're disconnected from your body for a reason, let's find out why you're disconnected from your body. And almost basically punishing and making yourself suffer with a lower vibration. So then I would come from a mental standpoint, looking at your childhood, what type of trauma you dealt with from the DNA cellular level. Once we change that, your body automatically shift and you're just gonna have this different type of energy for me. So I help my clients be mindful of what's triggering these particular behaviors and I address them from that way. Then once I recognize it, I breathe, I still allow it, that okay, I help you be mindful. Okay, I'm gonna eat this cake, but what's causing me or what's fueling me to eat this cake? So now you're taking back your control of you because you want to, not because you feel like you're forced to. Become a slave to that urge, which is like sugar and things of that nature that lowers your vibration. So you're actually counteracting what you're doing with it. When you become mindful of, you're not going to self-sabotage. But then you shift your belief system, understanding what you're doing to yourself on a cellular, spiritual, and emotional level. So kind of get the shift being aware of what's going on. So everything we're saying makes sense. It's in glamour of what I was saying. Also with fitness, because when you're back in your body, you reach some dopamine and serotonin, and you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm breathing hard. Oh my God, I'm tired. So now I don't want to cheat day. I don't want that because I'm gonna suffer internally, and she's gonna make you suffer. And I give you a cheat day. Look, you have a cheat day, right? But I teach boxing. So if you're cheating on boxing, I'm gonna be able to tell you. And it's gonna be on you like, no problem, but you have to commit yourself. And I'm gonna do what I need to do, not for what my friends doing, but what I'm doing. But when you get in front of me boxing, I had no sympathy for you because you shoot this video. I have to give you this strength for you to push through and become your higher self. And then that way you want to discipline yourself because you know even in front of her, in front of me, in front of her, you're gonna be held accountable. So accountability is the main thing. Put it back on you. Take the power of you what you do. You come tell me why you did what you did. Like, yeah, that's right. So no codependency. I gotta call my coach. I don't want you to be codependent. No, I don't want no codependency. So I give you your power back to liberate you from your thoughts and your action and mannerisms. You get reset and you go from there.
Yeah, I was going to say too, I think it's important to always check in with yourself, kind of like what you were saying about like breath work. Like a lot of times we, especially just in society, we want that quick, instant gratification, and most of the time we use that with food to feed some type of emotion, love, anger, everything. So really like when that comes up, like, okay, I want to have a piece of cake, like ask yourself, because it's something that I had to work with too, like, why? Like, why do I want a piece of cake? Okay, I'm frustrated, I'm sad, it's had a breakup, or I don't know, I just need it. Like keep asking yourself why. Okay, like why am I frustrated? Okay, something happened with someone that's close to me. How can I still serve myself where it's not like I'm leaning on something that's toxic to me or that's going to lower my vibration? What can I do to actually check in with myself to feed it something that's more powerful to raise my vibration? So I just think, checking in with yourself, asking yourself those questions, and sometimes you have to keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Why? And then eventually you get back to your true self and you realize, okay, I can serve myself with that love outside of eating a piece of cake. Maybe I can get a bowl of fruit. I don't know, fruit makes me happy. It serves me the same way. So, or maybe I can go give that love to someone else that, is more of like a healthier way than like just running to that. Because it'll come up, you start a lifestyle again and try to be healthy, and then the next week you're doing it all over again. And it's this pattern. But if you check yourself in a moment, then you can really connect back to self. So it's important.
I was gonna say, like, that's a good question, or it's a question too, right? One of the things, I think a lot of people, probably in this space in general, find their reason to start exercising is a lot of times like the future, right? Mine personally was, if I my dad had cancer, my dad's dad had cancer, my grandma on my mom's side had cancer, so everybody gets cancer, right? And that scared me. And so I thought, let me exercise because I don't want that to happen to me. And just try my best to try to get better. And I found myself still failing, even though there was this looming thing over my life, right? And so I guess the question is, how do you handle the failures and bounce back? Like, what is the best way to kind of do that and not be so focused on this long-term, 3 years, 10 years, whatever thing that's over your life?
I'm not an expert. I can tell you what I've done, because I've had health issues also. So it's like one of those things where you hear this news and you do everything you're supposed to, until you feel good again. And it's kind of like whatever. You go back to your cake and wine. Actually, I'm one of those, by the way. Right, but for me, like people sometimes say, why are you always posting? Why are you always, but for me, I need accountability because there are reasons why you do certain things and then you do have to do soul searching and all that. But I actually like when people say, hey, what are you doing? Like, I saw you in the gym the other day, that's what you eat for lunch? So for me, that definitely helps me because now I gotta go back and be like, oh yeah, I did post that, I saw that. So yes, I do have some goals I'm trying to reach. So for me, like posting and then like when I walk in the gym, personal trainer, we have breakfast. Hi, how are you doing? Like that's like the good morning. I'm like, okay, like nothing. It's like we talk about that. So for me, like surrounding myself with people who are gonna call me out when they see me not doing what I'm supposed to do, they know the goals I set for myself. For me, that helps and just helps, keep it real because I know they're not gonna like tap dance around or whatever. They just be real. Like, really, I saw you posted you drinking yesterday, and then now I'm looking at you drinking again. So like, what are you doing?
Now I would say that as well, because like with your question, Zaire, about accountability, right? Like having someone like as potential accountability partner, right? Whether that is an instructor, a coach, or a workout partner, or just someone who knows what you're trying to do and is going to hold you accountable, right? And it's almost like you have to be intentional about it, right? Because it ain't just like, they see I'm doing it, that means it's your job now to say something to me. But it's like, all right, we're in this together, or I've said to them, look, I'm trying to do this. So if you see me, messing up or whatever, get on me, right? I think that usually could be something that helps. And even like the idea of posting and stuff, right? Like I work out, I don't post myself, right? But I think that serves as accountability for a lot of people, right? You post it and you're saying, yeah, I'm in the gym, and then you don't post anything for like 3 weeks. It's like, what happened?
That's exactly what happened too. Like, you were having a tweet.
Yeah.
Mind your business.
I'd say, just for you, one thing I know, I haven't applied this to health yet, which I probably should. But just going off of what you've been doing, so you have this I want to do a song a week thing, right? That why did you start doing that?
Force myself to be consistent.
Exactly. That's something that, not necessarily a song a week because I ain't crazy, but what helped me with getting to my goals in terms of like music is I used to think, okay, I want to have an album ready by this time, and I was like, okay, cool. And over time, it's like, all right, when we're gonna start on it. Okay, I started on it. Why aren't I being consistent? Okay, I did this. And I was like, all right, let me just focus on the song at a time. It's hard to be motivated by something that isn't tangible. It's hard to be motivated by something that you can't feel, that you can't see, that you can't reach. And the future, the further you go into it, the less real it seems. So that's, that song a week thing, that's more feasible. Like, okay, next week is right around the corner. I can focus on that.
I just wanted to talk about accountability for those that it doesn't work for. Because I'm one of those that it doesn't work for. Somebody says, you haven't been in? My daughter's the same way. She's doing something. If I encourage her, if I discourage her, if I say anything about it, she's gonna stop doing it. One of the so that's why I talk about character strengths, because everybody has different character strengths, and there are a lot of character strengths that lend themselves to that social world, and there's a lot that don't. And I'm one of those that don't. So one of my top character strengths is like sort of seeking knowledge, is what it's called, right? So it doesn't help when somebody somebody compliments me or somebody tries to discourage me. It just turns me the opposite way. So knowing what your character strengths are and learning how to use them to the best of your ability to help whatever it is. It doesn't just apply to health, it can apply to absolutely anything. That is also something that works. I had a client once who, she was everybody's mentor. And because she was giving so much, she didn't pay attention to herself. And so she was in my, it was the office I was in, right? I don't have an office now, nobody does, right? At the time, it was in my office, and she would come crying every time, and I kept saying, your character strength is helpfulness and gratitude. When you get down, what are you supposed to do? And she says, encourage somebody else. So she was on a health journey, and she had to remember that when she got stuck with this, she had to go help somebody else, not necessarily in a health journey, help somebody with something else, to bring her, what was the word you used? Vibrations. Bring her vibrations up, right? So that she can go back to herself and work on it. And she was one of the persons like, I can never post, I can never do anything like that because, oh, I look like this. And then she started posting, and people started thanking her for the information that she was putting out about herself and about her own journey, and that strengthened her own journey. And that just happens to be because her character strength is that would work for me. So knowing what your character strengths are and learning how to enhance them and learning how to bring the ones up from the bottom to the top, that also helps.
So I have a question for you,
Zaya.
Zaya. So, what are your goals in terms of your own fitness journey? That's the first thing. And secondly, as an artist and your instrument, meaning your body, do you think of them as separate, or do you think of it as, what am I doing to prepare and strengthen my instrument for my artistry? Because that is a very different conversation.
Yeah, so that's something that that personally I've come to realize is more important than I thought it was. But that's a more recent development. I'd say my goal in terms of my health is to regulate in a sense. I have high blood pressure. My family is high blood pressure. So my goal right now is to get that manageable, get that to a number where if I check my blood pressure on any given day, it's not way up, like it's where it's not supposed to be. But that's my short-term goal right now.
And so, but your body is your tool. That's what you're using to do what you want to do. So this is primary. We talk about the body as the temple, right? Whatever you're doing to prepare your instrument is very important for that long-term and short-term goal. So I think maybe we start, you can think about it in that way. Because if you're sick, you can't perform, you can't sing. So thinking about what do I need to do to sharpen my tool, to strengthen my tool, to build my tool, build my instrument. Because what you put in your body is going to reflect what you produce. Just food for thought.
I got a question for you too. Can everybody sit down for a second, please? Sit down to your smoke. Sit down to what they actually call it, be pregnant, ain't you? So can we kick our legs out a little bit? My question for you is, if you're a singer, how you know how to breathe? I'm just thinking about it. Like, are you conscious of what you're doing, or does it happen unconsciously?
More unconscious.
And also, if I'm being completely honest, like singing is more recently something that I've decided to share with other people. It used to be something I just kept to myself.
Yes. So what inspired you to actually come out your comfort zone and then start singing? Because that takes courage.
Depression.
The who?
Depression.
Ooh. Okay, that would make me start doing what I do. So it's the Most High giving you something that's naturally in you that's stopping you from doing what you're going to do. But if you really have your heart in it, you're going to give you everything you need. Because we're back. We're going to provide something what we're thinking about. So you have enough courage to say that you want to do that. That means you're ready for that. So the main thing is receive. Whatever you thought you were doing, don't have them thoughts. Our words put spells on us. So whenever you say a low vibration thought, your subconscious mind will make that manifest. So catch your words. It's called metacognitive therapy. Before you say something, make sure your heart kisses it before it comes out your mouth. And that's when you start manifesting what you got going on. So be more mindful of what you send out your mouth as you be. So if you're going to say something that you feel like a lower vibration, pause and get back into your truth, which is you. And connect. The main thing we disconnect is from our body. We want to do everything away from our body. When we're in our body and accept our body just how it is, you can accept the spirit in that way. It's just going to move. It's going to take you to go. But you can't be fearful. You can't have fear and gratitude in the same space. One or the other. You want to have gratitude, be grateful, or fear. Can't be both. You got to choose. Or we can sit down.
I have a question for you. How was it to, your smile is so pretty. How were you able to start your vegan journey despite being surrounded by, all that meat and cheese and just dairy in general? Because for me it's really hard because I wanted to do it for years, but all I've known is meat and dairy. Since I've grown up and I'm still surrounded by it, my mom only cooks meat and stuff like that. So how are you able to get in that journey?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, personally, I'm just naturally really disciplined. So usually if I put my mind to something, I'll stick it through. But I think it's really important to connect to your why, what's really drawing you to make that lifestyle change. And if it is something that, for me, it was watching my family, my grandfather and my grandmother suffer and not really understanding what that was. I just thought that cancer was something that people just got. I didn't understand lifestyle habits, environmental causes, but really the one thing that we do every day is eat. And if we really look at what we're eating and digest it to understand what chemicals, what toxins, what is it actually doing to my body is really serving me, then getting deeper into that education and learning that, you'll begin to connect more to why you're wanting to continue to try this lifestyle. But as far as being around people, it can be difficult to make those changes. But I think what everybody else was touching on, accountability, if you get clear on your why and why you want to make this lifestyle change, and sharing it with your community, sharing it with the people around you, and just asking them to support you. I know maybe one day out of the week, maybe as a family we can have a healthy meal, so everybody can include in it versus you're just doing it by yourself, but that's something that for me it was okay, I'm gonna do it. Thankfully I had my sister, and then even our parents decided to do it too. So it was something that we as a collective did. But if you're in a space where people aren't ready to make that change with you, asking them maybe once a week or one meal or something to support you in that. So I think that's important.
I was gonna add to just be patient with yourself because it is a journey. I did have a bodybuilding background, so I was always really disciplined with what I was eating. I knew I had a coach before, so I really knew what to do. So it wasn't that much of a transition for me. But I will say that I put my mind to it, I did it, but then I kind of went back a little bit too because I wasn't respecting that journey. I was I was really hard on myself. I was almost punishing myself. So I really feel if you're patient, like she said, have that conversation. When I started to really, I think one of my character strengths is seeking knowledge too, because when I learn about something and I connect to this, learning I watched videos or did my own research, and I was okay, something's not adding up here. You put 2 and 2 together and you're well, something's got to give, right? It's almost when you get that knowledge, it's are you gonna act on it, or are you just gonna keep it all in and not apply it, right? So I really started to just kind of connect with that, but then I still had to be patient with myself because a lot of the things, a lot of the lifestyle changes, especially surrounding diet, you know, generational trauma, it's like a lot. It's not just giving up eating dairy. It's like, you know, culturally, that's something that like, it's like tradition, you know, it's like in our DNA. So really being patient with yourself and being like, okay, you know what, like she said, like, you know what, okay, maybe for like 2 days out of the week, on the weekends, or maybe like Monday and Tuesday, right, I'm gonna try and maybe like not, or find like an alternative for dairy, right, because there's so many things now, there's like literally everything, you can kind of like baby step your way in, and then as you continue to do that, you're setting that intention, right, and then the universe, God, whatever, is going to help you along the way. So it won't be so difficult to just be like, okay, I'm giving this up, or you'll have that kind of like, you know, negative like feeling surrounding it, and then it becomes harder. You punish yourself and go back to where you started, or even worse, right? So yeah, just being patient with yourself is what I'd say.
I kind of piggybacking off that. I found like, and this kind of goes with the accountability and learning things, right? I think a lot of, so I'm not vegan, but I don't eat pork and beef, right? And I think most of that started once I realized that there are actually other things that taste good out here. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of starts with like, so we used to work together for somebody else. And I remember you showing me hummus. Yeah, like sharing the hummus with him. You were like, yeah, it's hummus.
And vegetables.
Yes.
You did not eat vegetables.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it's rice and beans. That's
Rice and beans. Yeah, no. But he's not joking. Like for 18, so I started working there when I was 18, right? So for 18 years, we probably had vegetables like monthly, maybe. Bro, like, but also that's not how my mom cooked. It was rice and beans and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And chicken, obviously chicken. So him sharing like hummus with me and like sharing different things with me, I realized like there was some of the stuff that was like, I don't actually like this, but there was a lot where it's like, oh, this tastes good. I actually would trade out chips for pita chips and hummus or whatever, and like, you know, going down that journey like step by step and until like I could get rid of things in general. So I think just being explorative with the taste of things, you know, I have a lot of friends I'll try to share like the vegan beef thing I have, right? I bet you wouldn't. And they're like, whoa, hell no. And I'm like, nah, trust me, this was a hard thing for me to trade out. And it actually tastes really good, like, you know what I'm saying? But maybe it won't, but you won't know unless you actually taste it, you know? So,
I think a big hurdle is flavor and convenience.
Yeah.
And that's going back to, going back to the craft. Because it's delicious and easy to get to.
Yeah.
I think too, like, your body eventually you don't have to set a goal. So let's say after the gym every day, you're like, I did a really good job of eating cake. Then after a week of going to the gym and eating cake, you're like, dang, I'm gonna eat cake a little bit less because I like this little results I'm getting, you know, I'm still exercising, there are gonna be the results. And you kind of cut down. And eventually your body starts to make those decisions for you too, I think, you know, like, I'm trying to believe this fried chicken. I feel really bad after eating this fried chicken right now. I'm gonna go to grill instead. And I think it's always being comfortable taking a slow route, you know?
I think, you know, jumping in, what's your name? Deanna mentioned something, speaking about like cultural things. And so I'm just thinking, as everyone was talking about the way we eat and our activities, right? A lot like culturally, you know, that impacts us so much. And, you know, and then you just think about specifically, like say in America, in this country, you know, when it comes to food apartheid, you know, what basically is like, yeah, what's around where you live and what's readily accessible, you know, for you to grab and eat, right? And think about in this neighborhood right here, like this is on this side of the tracks, you know, it's a predominantly black neighborhood, and like I grew up around here, and there used to be a grocery store like in the neighborhood. it ain't there no more, right? The thing, like, and the stores that are around, like, what are they serving? What's in there? You can go, if you're hungry, what you gonna go in there and get? What you gonna get? Some pork rinds and some hot sausage and pickled eggs, and, you know, so, you know, that's what's there. And then also when you think about fitness, right? Have we been taught, like, have we learned to have a lifestyle that is connected to our bodies and being fit, right? Most people, you know, it takes them to be like 60 years old and they start walking, you know, or whatever, because other than that, I ain't walking, especially here, right? Because everything is jump in the car and go, you know, because it's hot out, right? It's hot, right? But, you know, like 6 months ago, I'm like, yo, I started like getting up and walking like a couple times a week, just like doing like 3 or 4 miles in the morning before it gets hot, you know. So I don't know. That's just a thought about like thinking about being cognizant of those things that are like inherent if it's our culture or lifestyle, and then just like everything else in our lives that we have to be aware of and deal with them. You know, whether they're past traumas or you know generational trauma or these different things, but be aware of it, not just be like, oh, well, that's what it is, and so you know, like it is, whatever.
Jumping off that, I think this also has to deal with like, you know, generational history, right? So our grandparents, they were laborers. They didn't. I feel like at a certain time, exercising is kind of like was looked upon kind of like a leisure activity, right? Or maybe we're working a lot of jobs and we're tired when we get home. So it's kind of like recently there's been an upsurge in just more healthy habits, healthy food practices and relationships with food also. So I think that's it too.
Yeah, but so that's a good point, right? Because you think about work.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people used to work, like actual work, like,
yeah.
You know, like my granddaddy was a carpenter.
Yep.
My mother granddaddy, you know, cut yards all day.
Yep.
So they in their 70s, they were ripped.
Yep.
They were ripped in their 70s.
Oh.
But they still, right, they eating hog maws and everything else. You know, but they were healthy-ish, right? You know, now I said I write stuff. I'll use a computer and a notepad, write some stuff on a piece of paper. Like, so I'm not active in that way unless I'm intentional. And so we spend a lot of our time behind computer screens or sitting in spaces, you know, so we have to say, okay, nah, I gotta be intentional. That's me.
Oh, no, you must be in my mind. Well, the main thing when I went vegetarian, vegan, I had to make it fun because we make it not fun to find no options. Going back to the 70s, they had fruits with seeds in them. They had real food. Right now, we don't have real food, you know. So it's a psychological attack on us as a people. Because I'm from the area. Public came over there, they didn't want to.
Yeah.
We don't have no fresh fruits and vegetables because we are the products. So once you understand, the solution is don't put energy in there. Now you break that generational curse cycle and you show people that you eat cereal and milk, that's vegan. You eat a salad, that's vegan. So let's take the stigmatism off with vegan vegetarians. When we do that, we're able to evolve this high level and have fun with it. When we start having fun, as kids, somebody has to make us man. Now as adults, we got to make us have fun. When we get back to having fun in life, man, and you're embracing that child back in you, you don't even know what you want to do. Because that what actually helps us be connected with our body, doing what we want to do. Not because it's a chore, because I choose to. So we choose to have fun with it. Go find things that you didn't think was big and make it big, and you know you post it, and you help other people by that energy. So yeah, just make it fun.
And make food fun. Like when you're in the kitchen, I turn on music. I'm in my own space, and there's an ingredient that has to be in my food that's love, right? So when your food is fun, you can play around with different types of textures and play around with different types of flavors. Then all of a sudden, food is fun again. So when food is fun, then you have a different relationship with whatever you're doing because now it is, what can I create? what kind of new flavors can let me see if, and you forgive it to yourself. Oh, that didn't work, but maybe next time I can try it. And then I will also say to stay present and feed your body what it needs. Like people would ask, well, should I eat this and should I eat that? I don't know what you should eat. But I'm going to tell you who does know. Your body knows. Like your body knows exactly what it needs. So when you stay present and pay more attention to your body's going to say, well, when I ate that, it didn't feel so good. So it doesn't matter who else is eating whatever, because you know that your body isn't going to feel good later. And so you develop a relationship with your body as opposed to it just being the vessel that you're in. Because when you understand that you can have a relationship with your body, then the game changes. You don't just wake up and things happen because you're intentional and you're present in what is happening. And you're a part of the process. You're not just allowing things to happen to you. Fun is exciting. Like food should be the colors, the smells, the flavors, the textures. Like food should be fun. And it shouldn't just be when you go to a restaurant. That should be developed right there in your kitchen. Right there for you. Because you are the consumer. You are the one who is going to use this vessel to be the best, whatever that is that you are here to be.
All right. So speaking of that, pay attention to your body. So we're about to pay attention to our bodies in just a few minutes. We're gonna move a little bit. So get ready to move a little bit. So with that, I want to just kind of move on and give our experts one last word each. Any nuggets, tidbits they want to drop us off with before we. If not, then you're like, oh, I did my part. Peace. You know. Before we transition, so floor is yours. All right, cool. So
love yourself and be forgiving to yourself. It's a journey, not a destination.
So, can I give you a question to this?
sure.
So, I know the whole conversation we made about wellness and health within ourselves, but I think that was like a back end that didn't get a lot of attention, which is we talked about like deserts and disparities and outwards. What can we do as people to kind of affect like the health of our community?
It starts within. You have to be that change that you want to see. So in order to change your outside world, start with your inside world. And your perspective on the outside world changes. And when you change and vibrate, what other people are afraid to do, they see you doing it. And you change the whole vibration, start with yourself.
And when you notice that you can combine with people, when I used to live in Georgia, there were neighborhoods where, just like that, they don't have supermarkets in there. So we went into the government and we said, this is what we need. This community needs, it's an open community. They need to be able to get to they need to go to the grocery store, they need to get to their appointments. So we need to provide that. Well, how do you do that? Well, then we can get with Google, we can get with, like, you can create whatever it is that you can conceive in your brain, you can create solutions for it. Because as soon as there was a thought on what it was, a solution came. Sometimes we dismember it because we say, well, we can't do that. So allow yourself to just come up with those solutions.
Yeah, when I think about generationally, and you talked about this as well, I'm the only person in my family that is doing anything fitness related. And I worked with them, like I put them together in teams and just like this whole 90-day thing. And they participated most, and then it was back to business as usual for them. Coincidentally, I post on my social media, and they are open videos, and I'm hoping they're doing something. But I have to now focus on my son, whose father has diabetes, who had a stroke, who is partially paralyzed, and so he watches me, and he has his friends in school doing push-ups. So that's how I break the cycle. So he knows mommy teaches fitness, he knows mommy, does X, Y, Z. So, but I'm also dealing with the excessive wanting of sweets so I'm fighting, and I try not to be so hyper focused because I don't want him to have the same issues. but I want him to be able to recognize and have fitness and healthy living a part of his lifestyle and psyche, so that he's able to battle that on his own, because it's genetically a part of his DNA. So breaking cycles, education, do something every night, do something every day, do something, even if it's a small thing, 5 to 10 minutes. Find something where you're moving your body and making different choices.
And as far as like, I don't know, there's grocery stores that, or sometimes there's a grocery store that's there that doesn't have what you actually need, right? So make a stink. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big stink, but it has to be a persistent stink. Like, hey, I really like this milk. It's not here. It's at the other Publix. How come it's not here? I saw it over here. Do you have a manager? Because it's happened to me. There was a milk that I was used to, and it was at all the other stores but the one where I was, right? And so I kept asking, and eventually it got there. And then echoing upon the kids. My kids, they eat what I eat. They don't even think about whether they should eat what I eat. And then I have parents who come to me and they're like, well, how do you get your kids to eat healthy? I'm like, they don't know that they're eating healthy, they're just eating. So if you choose to eat healthy, they're not gonna think, oh, I shouldn't be eating that. They're gonna be thinking, what's mommy eating? Can I have some?
I also wanted to say, piggybacking off of what you said, it starts within, communities have, community fridges. So, if you go to a Publix and you see they have something that's there, and another Publix doesn't have it, you can have a community fridge in your specific neighborhood that could be a food desert. So then people don't have to commute, like in West Memphis, where people are commuting on buses to go to Save a Lot instead of commuting on buses to go to a Whole Foods. And it's these things are at a governmental level, and they are, at a level of our community. Just saying what you were saying, people need to know that what you eat, what you consume is what you are. The music you listen to, the food that you eat. So if the community is not recognizing that the food that they're eating is, debilitating them, that's where it starts. And then when you start from there, you have a community garden. On a Sunday, the kids in the community, when they're done with their homework, they can go to the community garden and plant beets and cabbage and different greens and other things. And it starts from there, just with education and then implementation. We don't always have to depend on our local and federal government to do things. We can take the action in our, individually, build a group and do what we need to do. So.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds great. You got anything, Dominique?
Oh.
Okay, cool. All right. So, great talk. Make sure, talk to the experts so that you can kind of connect with what it is that they do and what they offer, and, visit, you got Connie, got some stuff back there, you can cop. You can, what's the name of the? Pirium, right? Check out Pirium back there. But before we do that, Mr. Keith got something for y'all. So we're gonna get in. So y'all might as well get up, push these chairs to the back, push these chairs to the wall, and over here.
again, breathe in. And exhale. Now you're going to roll the pelvis and the torso. Breathe in. And reverse exhale. One more time. Breathe in. Good. And exhale. Soften the knees. Now you're going to take that second hand, put it on the small of the back, and switch hands. Now, same thing. You are massaging, pressing the heel into that lower back. And breathe in. And exhale, reverse. And breathe in. Again, circling those hips. And exhale. Breathe in, arms up. Exhale, arch down. Round the back, head is last. Roll over 4, 3, 2, and 1. 2 more. Breathe in, arms up. Exhale, let me hear you. Hands on the thighs. Roll up for 4, 3. Rolling through the spine. 2, and 1. Last time. Breathe in, arms up. Exhale, let me hear you. Rolling up for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Circle the head to the right, 8 count. 1, 2, soften the knees, 3, abs in, 4, sternum lifted, 5, 6, 7, 8, that reverses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Roll the shoulders back for 4, 3, 2, and 1. That goes forward. 4, shoulders are heavy. 3, 2, and 1. So self-assessment, we're going to see how tight that body is right now. Rolling down for 8, 7, 6. All right. All right, so this is dance fitness, yes? So we're dancing, but you're also going to be finding the athleticism in the movement.
Wait, that wasn't it?
All right, here we go.
You talk about you care about my life. Talk about you care about my life. You talk about you care about my life. Talk about you care about my life. Talk about you care about my life. Little boy, you care about my life.
sometimes you gotta work for the talent, and other times it's God-given. That was God-given.